Welcome back to Freemasons, the Inside Story. Now, throughout the 26 weeks that the program has run for, there have been many Freemasons who have been showcased, and different aspects of the organisation have been highlighted. But I wonder if I might be able to ask you for a particular favourite, Grand Master.
Oh, that's an extremely difficult question, Wes. Probably unfair, because I've watched every episode, from the filming of some of them to the editing floor. It's very difficult, but I guess personal highlights, and I can only be selfish here, the Australia Day, starting off back in the Australia Day March, where a group of us walked fully regaled down Swanston Street. I don't think I'll ever walk across down Swanston Street in the middle of the tram tracks ever again, but it was a wonderful occasion to see hundreds of thousands of people respect what we were doing as Freemasons and showing the world what we're doing. That was one of the personal highlights very early on for me.
Good to see Freemasons active in the community. Let's take a look at that segment. Well, that certainly was a great day for Freemasons Victoria. Deputy Grand Master Hillel, what's your personal highlight from the series?
One of the really good episodes I enjoyed was the scholarship presentation evening. It's an evening where there's probably in excess of 100 recipients of various scholarships that are donated by Freemasons Victoria, to the tune of about $260,000. And one of those particular scholarships is in the name of my late father, and so it was a very meaningful day, and the whole presentation was a really great day.
Well, again, let's take a look at that particular segment from the program.
Now is the time to ask the Benedict brothers to come on the stage, please. These three tenors, or three brothers, are going to present the Eliezer Benedict Memorial Scholarship for Music. It is a scholarship of $1,500 per annum. It is awarded to an applicant who is attending or has qualified to be admitted as a student at tertiary level to a School of Music approved by the Scholarship Committee. And the recipient tonight is Kelly Trenery.
Well, an example of Freemasons Victoria and the way that it gives to the community. Peter Henschel, a segment that you remember from the program that's highlighted something of the organisation for you.
Well, was picking up on that community spirit. Back in 2009, with the devastation of Black Saturday, we decided to raise a fund. We raised over $1.2 million to be able to contribute and help those that were directly affected by those fires, principally the three primary schools that were devastated. We created scholarships and a fund to refurbish their libraries. We went back earlier this year to present some of those scholarships, and it was my pleasure to interview the principal of Middle Kinglake School and to get a health check on where those families are and what progress the children are making.
A good segment to remember. Let's have a look at that.
In addition to the $40,000 given by Freemasons Victoria to help the school re-establish, scholarships for the next 10 years have been provided to 4 students each year. How do you feel that those scholarships have been received?
Well, the families who've received those scholarships have been overjoyed. They've put that aside to their students' special interests or their further education, but the whole school has benefited from that initial $40,000 that was donated to the school. We utilised that to set up our library. Library is a favourite place for all of our staff and students, and so we used that initially for the furniture and for the computer borrowing system, so we're very welcomed.
Bruce Trengrove, what's been a favourite of yours of the segments that you've been involved with?
I'd have to say that the segments on, asking the hard questions. because really that's what we attempted and did achieve here, was getting people in the street to just, you know, talk to Freemasons and ask those questions that they were a little bit vague about, or not too sure what was going on there, and you know, why it is such a great organisation that's been around for 125 years in this state.
Dispelling the myths and answering the hard questions. Let's have a look at that.
Are there still secret handshakes within Freemasonry?
The old chestnut, Wes, the old chestnut.
It does come up quite regularly.
Absolutely. The answer is yes, no doubt. We have a number of secrets, but as we've explained in previous episodes, and hopefully quite clearly, they are purely as a matter of recognition that I know that you're a Freemason and you know that I'm a Freemason. Once we get past that point, there is no secrecy about it at all.
Well, we certainly got to the inside story with those questions, Grandmaster.
That's all very fine for Bruce to think that's a wonderful segment, but he wasn't the one under the pump. Hillel and I were. So, no, it was enjoyable to know that the public were interested to ask those questions.
Grandmaster, once again, of the many people that we've met through the series and the many aspects of Freemasonry that the program has highlighted, what have been some of your favourites, some of the characters perhaps involved in Freemasonry?
Oh, Wes, it brings a smile to my face because we've unearthed some real gems within our own organisation. People that have been somewhat in the background that have been able to come forward and do presentations and do segments. Some of Peter's staff have really shone very brightly. But the one that stands out to me is one of our brethren called Jim Spreadborough from the archives, affectionately known as Big Jim. And I understand that he's got quite a cult following through this series, and I'm sure we could. That's certainly one of the highlights. The way he's come through, his character has come through during this series.
Let's have a look at some of Jim's contributions.
I had some help from one of my granddaughters on this, and I'll tell you what they were used for. They used to put their hot irons and things like that back in the early 1800s and late 1700s. Behind me is a portrait of our first Grand Master of United Grand Lodge of Victoria back in 1889. We've had many great leaders in Freemasonry who've taken the position of Grand Master. Now, I never had a flat iron, so I had to borrow that from my granddaughter, and I must take that back to her.
Well, Jim certainly brought to light many beautiful objects associated with Freemasonry over many centuries. It hasn't all been serious though, has it, Peter, with some fun moments along the way?
Wes, there's been a lot of fun moments along the way. The one that stands out in my mind was when we were down at Port Arlington, a golf day to raise funds for Royal Freemasons. And like many golf games, there are always our characters. Let's have a look at one of those.
That's a good shot.
Somewhat unorthodox, but it was effective in the end. Deputy Grandmaster, something for you that's been of special significance during the program?
As the second Jewish Grand Master as of 2014, it was very special for an episode to be filmed at the Melbourne Hebrew Congregation. It's a very historical and magnificent building, and it helped remind me that next year will be our 125th year. Also, the people that were interviewed spoke about how they related Freemasonry and Judaism and how they were consistent with each other. And one of the quotes I took away with from one of those interviews from one of the young Freemasons was that he said his parents brought him up to become a Freemason before they knew what Freemasonry was. And that left a lasting impression on me.
A wonderful insight and a good memory, so let's relive that.
You know, the roots of Freemasonry and Judaism are so intertwined and their ethos is so much the same that it's just a part of who I am, and they meld together so perfectly that, you know, I like to think of it that my parents raised me to become a Freemason before we even knew what Freemasonry was. They're so similar.
Well, some wonderful memories of the organisation and the program over the last 26 episodes, proudly displaying its history and its ceremony and aspects of community work that Freemasons Victoria is known for. At the end of the episode's Grand Master, it seems appropriate to look forward and perhaps to leave the final word to yourself.
I'd really like to say thank you to everybody that's participated in this series of programs. It's been a lot of fun making it. We've gone from being novices at making films to Steven Spielberg and Ron Howard. It's been quite a learning exercise for us. I'd like to thank everybody that's been part of this, from our executive producer Bruce and Marcus, Rob, Scotty, all those behind the scenes people that have put this all together and their hard work. Without that, we wouldn't have had a series. To all our presenters, thank you to all of them that have given up their time freely to make this series an exciting and terrific one from our perspective. To all those that have given their time to be interviewed, I thank them as well. Look forward to the summer series. Could I say a very big thank you to all of the viewers who have tuned in. Obviously, we've been producing something that they want to hear, that they want to see, and I hope that as insightful as it's been for Freemasonry, it has been for the general public, and they now understand what we are as Freemasons and what we do as Freemasons a little bit better. And could I finally say thank you to you personally for being the host of this program, and I look forward to many more in the future. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, viewers, and we'll see you in the summer series.
Gentlemen, on behalf of those who have been involved with the program, and of course from the audience, thank you for showing us Freemasons, the inside story.
Thank you, Wes.
Thanks, Wes.
And thank you for joining us on Freemasons, the inside story. We hope you've enjoyed this first series. To find out more about Freemasonry, visit the Freemasons Victoria website at www.freemasonsvic.net.au or phone us on 1800 Freemason. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, LinkedIn and Google+. We'll be returning with a second series of Freemasons The Inside Story on Monday, December the 2nd at 8:30 p.m. Until then, thank you for joining us.